Let me wait for... So, 6th canto and 11th chapter is where we are right now. And we are looking into the story of Vrtraasura. Vrtraasura was created by... an asura created by his own father. Tvashta is one of the Adityas. Dvadasha Adityas. 12 Adityas are there. 12 lords of the luminaries. Sun is a luminary. Moon is a luminary. Likewise, there are a lot of luminaries in the sky. So these are 12 devatas. Dvadasha Aditya. One of the devatas is also Vishnu. Vishnu Bhagavan has got a role of being one of the Adityas also. So in a way, Tvashta is Vishnu's own brother. But he lost his son Vishwarupa to the Devatas. So he created the Asura called Vrtraasura to avenge, to take revenge on the Devatas. The Devatas were very devoted and prayerful to Bhagavan Sri Vishnu. And then Bhagavan Sri Vishnu had to play the role of advising the Devatas and going for the Vrtraasura, Vajra Ayudha towards Vrtraasura. Ayudha means weapon. The Vajrayudha was very significant because it was made from the bones of a magnificent Maharishi by name Dadichi. But now Vrtraasura is here, the battlefield, and we also saw what was happening in the battlefield. The new weapon gained by the Devatas, they were winning the battle, but the battle is not yet over. So let us continue from that scene in this new chapter. Sri Shuka Uvacha Tayevam samsate dharmam vajah patyurachetasah naiva grinnan bhayatrastaha palayana parandrupa. Shukadeva is continuing the story to Parikshit and saying, Vrtraasura had some words of wisdom for his troops who were all running away. His fellow asuras, his commanders in chief, all of them, his senapatis are all running away. They were all great asuras, but they were running away. So he was talking to them in a loud voice and speaking of dharma, of a kshatriya, of a warrior. What was the dharma he was saying in the last chapter? He was saying, in the battlefield, if someone loses their life, they go to Swarga directly. That is called Veeraswarga. See what a shortcut to go to Swarga. Huh? That person has to just fight for his side. It may be any side. Vrtraasura is, he knows that he is in the side of asuras. He says, even if you fight for the asuras, if you be a soldier, you go to heaven, no matter which side you are. Of course, being a soldier and facing the heat of the battle gives that person also a lot of fame. So fame here, name here, and then Swarga later. This was advice, but there was nobody to listen to him. Everyone were running away. That's a wrong time for even giving any kind of advice like this. Whenever you want to say something, you should know the right time, right place. The battlefield was not the great place for such advice of dharma. And of course, not the right time when they were losing the battle and they had to save themselves. That is why our religion is very practical. We say artha, kama, dharma, moksha. You should have enough artha. You should have enough sense of feeling secure to pursue even dharma. There's no artha, no kama. No artha, no dharma also. It becomes like that. How much dharma can people follow when they are being, in those places where there's so much of conflicts? There's a fear of existence, fear of, fear of sleep. They don't want to sleep because they don't know what's going to happen next second. So there you cannot say Vedanta, you cannot say Dharma. So we are very practical about that. Other religions, they put Dharma or even Ishvara on the top, and then they become so impractical. So our Vrtraasura's words were in vain. They were not any much, changing the hearts and minds of the other asuras. Vishiryamanam Vrutanam Asuri Masurarshava Kala Anukulai Kalyamana Manathavat. So he was like an anatha. He was like an anatha, or the asuras were like anatha. They had no regards for their leader, Vrtraasura, because he was not winning the battle for them. His presence was not really helping. So they were running away like anatha. You know, the word anatha is a very common word. Anatha is a common word, means orphan. The translation, one of the translations, orphan. There's nobody to support them. And because the time and tide was helping the devatas, they were winning the battle. So the asuras continued to run away. Drishtva tapyata samkruddha indra shatru ramarshitah tan nivaryau jasa rajan nirbhatsyedamuvachah. Drishtva, seeing atapyatah, who's seeing Vrtraasura is seeing this. He was so agitated. He was so upset. And he was filled with anger. This is Indra Shatru. Vrtraasura was feeling so helplessly angry and agitated. So he wants to solve. He wants to step up his attack. He was even more agitated towards the devatas. He wanted to stop them. And then he looked at the devatas and started yelling at them. What did he say? Because the asuras were not listening. Once your own people don't listen, do you think the other people are going to listen? Right? But he's still looking at the devatas, who is on the other side, and yelling. What did he say? Kimva ucharitair matuhu davatbih prishtato hataihi nahi bhitavadah shlagyah nasvargya shura maninam. What is great about, attacking people? Vrtraasura is looking at the devatas and asking, what is so great about you? Attacking people, attacking my people, when they're running away. When they're showing their backs, you are attacking them from behind. So they're running away. There's no fame in that. When somebody is afraid, you don't attack them. And it is not going to be gaining you any name and fame, because you're all you want the Swarga, you won't even get the Swarga because you're not following the Dharma. You have to face the enemy face to face and attack. So, what is he saying then? Yadiva pradhane shraddha. He was saying in the previous sloka that let's see, go to the next sloka. Yadiva pradhane shraddha saram va kshullaka hridi agre tishtata matram me nached gramya sukhe spruha. So, if you are any interest in name and fame, right? If you have the guts in your heart, I am right in front of you. Go, come and attack me. Come. If you can really sacrifice a little bit of your fear, come and attack me. That's what he's saying. Evam suraganan kruddha Vishayan vapusha ripun vyanadad sumaha pranaha yena loka vichetasah. So, looking at the devatas and shouting at them with these words of, valor, hey, come attack me now. Even his sound, it was like a lion roaring. And then when he was breathing so heavily, Vrtraasura, when he was breathing so heavily, that made some of the devatas go unconscious. They lost their minds. They couldn't know what's happening when when they heard Vrtraasura's voice. So powerful this asura was. Tena devagana sarve vrtra visphotanena vai vipetur murchita bhumau yataiva shanina hataha. They felt unconscious as though they were attacked by lightning. Most of the devatas. So suddenly Vrtraasura was winning. When the devatas were really facing Vrtraasura and wanting to fight, even his garjana, roaring of the lion, even his words were creating fear. And they were all falling as though they were going into coma, unconscious. Mamardhapadbhyam surasainya maturam nimilitaksham ranaranga durmadah gam kampayannudyata shula ojasa nalam vanam yuta patiryatonmadah. So, when the devatas were all on the floor, unconscious, Vrtraasura was walking on them. He was putting his feet on them to crush them and kill them with his power. Like, the elephant, a mad elephant playing ruckus. Now, when it's going in the forest, attacking all the trees and uprooting and then stomping on the trees and all that. Likewise, Vrtraasura was doing. Vilokyatam vajradharotya svashastra vebhidravate mahagadam chikshepa tama patatim sudussaha jagrahavamena karena lilaya. Indra was looking at it. He found that he was losing so quickly. It was a big surprise for him. So he quickly hurled a gada. Gada is a mace towards the asuras, towards Vrtraasura. And Vrtraasura could, with his left hand, even before the gada could come, just by waving his hand, he could throw the gada off. Leelaya Sayindra Shatruh Kupito Vrisham Taya Mahendravaham Tadayogra Vikrama Jagana Kumbha Sthala Unnadan Mridhe Tatkarma Sarve Samapujayan Nrupa Saha Indra Shatruhu. Who is Indra Shatru? Vrtraasura's one name is Indra Shatruhu. Kupitaha. It only made him more angry. Brisham taya. He took the gada and to threw it back on Indra. Okay, so he was throwing the gada back on the Indra, and everybody suddenly, all the asuras suddenly got some enthusiasm. Wow, our leader is also capable. Our leader is also capable. So they were all praising Vrtraasura. Bala, 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 like that. Airavato, what did that Gada do? Vrtraasura was very efficient. When Indra threw the Gada, Vrtraasura couldn't, who just blew it away. But when Vrtraasura threw the Gada, it went and hit the elephant Airavata. Indra's vehicle is the elephant Airavata. It hit Airavata on the head, and the elephant was bleeding. Airavato vritra gadabhimrushtaha vidhurnito drihi pulishahato yata apasarad bhinna mukha mahe sahendraha munchan nasrug tapta dhanur mrishaptaha. Airavata fell unconscious. Not only it fell unconscious, it was pushed away. The elephant with the bleeding elephant, because of the power of Vrtraasura's throw, javelin when they throw, it has to reach. Likewise, this maze with Vrtraasura threw took the Airavata 28 steps away. 28. The Airavata flew away 28 steps. All right? And it felt unconscious also. Then what happened? Satam Nripendra Hava Kampyaya Ripum Vajra Yudham Bhratru Hanam Vilokya Smaransh Chatatkarma Nrsham Samam Haha Shokena Mohena Hasanjagada. So now is the time for Vrtraasura. Before Vrtraasura, Indra, he had the Amrita in his hand. Devatas, they show the hand like this, the Amrita will flow to you. That is why all our pictures you see, this is Abhaya Hasta, and then they also have a hand like this. I'm lifting my hand because I have to be in the camera. My hand has to come in the camera. So what I'm trying to say is, people are interested in that hand which is giving all the wealth and material you want in this world. Jo is dunya mein. In this world, whatever you want, Bhagavan is giving by showing the hand like this. Devatas are giving by showing the hand like this. But what you want is immortality. Amrita, that comes by the touch of the Devatas, by just showing the hand like that. So that is why you see most of our pictures of Devata, they're having hand, both hand, one hand like that and one hand like this. What I'm trying to say is, Indra's hand had the Amrita, which can enliven Airavata. Airavata was back to perform his duty. He got up because of Indra's touch. And now it is a time for Vajrasura. Indra's hand now was holding the Vajrasura. And seeing that, what was Vrtraasura's reaction? Vrtraasura was not moved. He was even more angry. He was thinking of all that things the Indra has done to his family, to his father, to his brother. Vishwarupa was his brother. He was also the guru for the Devatas. So he recollected, hey, this Indra is a Guru Drohi, Bhratridrohi, Pitridrohi, right? But Indra had a reason for doing that. Sometimes some of the jobs you do are very thankless. Volunteering and all those, some of the jobs you take up, they're very thankless jobs. So Indra was in that position. He had to do what he had to do, but that has only upset Vrtraasura even more. Now Vrtraasura is going to speak even more words of valor and wisdom. He's going to say which side he's going to predict the outcome of this battle. Because he knows Bhagavan is on Indra's side. So he's going to concede in a few shlokas. But that will be the rest of the chapter. So we'll see that next time as a one section when we come back. So 13th shloka I have stopped. And the 14th onwards we'll take up when we come back next time. So here I would like to just stop this part of our session, which is Bhagavatam. I'm going to stop sharing the screen also. Now what we'll do next is look into the Leela of Bhagavan, Bhagavat Leela. So where did we leave the Leela of Bhagavan? Bhagavan's Leela we left when mom has now caught his hand. And Bhagavan is crying, look, people have their own ayudha. If you want to, not every time you have to have some stick in your hand. Suppose if you have a friend, what is the bala? What is a bala when you suppose want to upset your friend? Or if you want to show that you are upset with your friend, what is your tool? What is your weapon? Your weapon is what? You would not call him. You would not answer his phone. So your bala is, your strength is, you'll show your strength by not taking the call, not answering and all that. Suppose if you are upset with your own spouse or with your own family person, how would you show you are upset? You will shut your room. You will not come out of it. You will say, I'm going to sleep here today, right? So likewise, there is different ways you show your strength to different people. You don't always have to go and hit everybody, okay? So different ways you can deal with your own upset by showing your strength. So what is the strength of a child? The strength of the child is to cry. The child cannot do anything more than that. It can show its strength by crying out loud, yelling, thumping the floor with its hands and legs, doing all that. This is how the child would show his anger, his upset. So Bhagavan is also crying like that because he has been caught by his mother doing not just some mischief, being not just naughty. He has made a big mess out of the whole place. So mom is very upset. So caught his hand and he's crying, showing his fear. While he's crying, Bhagavan is putting his other hand, because one hand mom is already holding, and pressing his eyes. The child, when they cry, they do that. So scholars, the Bhaktas are saying, the Bhagavatas are saying, Bhagavan's two eyes are like the sun and the moon, Surya Chandra Iva. Sun and the moon. Now, what does the sun and the moon do? The sun and the moon witness the entire day, right? They witness the entire day, the witness. So Bhagavan is pressing his eyes to tell them, don't be the witness in my case. When my mom is going to ask me Why did you do all this? I'm going to manage the situation, but you don't jump into the scene and be the witness, likewise. That is one bhava. Bhava means one way of, looking at it. And the other way is also Bhagavan is cleansing his eyes. When tears are coming, your eyes get cleansed. There are some Ayurveda drops. If you put it into your eyes, it makes you tear more. So tearing is a cleansing act. They say if you can use those drops and create more tears, you will have no dry eye problem. And in fact, the cataract and other thing also gets postponed even further. So one of the scholars is saying Bhagavan was, doing that to clear his eyes, to make his eyes, free from that blemish of being the witness of Bhagavan's act. Now mom is holding Bhagavan and she is walking with him towards the same place where there's the grain thresher. She wants to tie the Bhagavan and she has a rope in her hand also to tie the Bhagavan. So who can tie the Lord? Can a real physical rope tie the Lord? No. You have to be, when your mother, your own mother, when she is catching you red-handed, then you can always protest. You can always argue. You can always say, I don't care and all that. But the real thing, what will save you is, especially towards your mom, what is the real thing which will save you is to acknowledge, is to show some remorse, show some fear. So Bhagavan was also showing some fear, and that brought out some vatsalya, some motherliness out of her. So how can you invoke the motherliness in your mother? Not by protesting, not by arguing, not by saying that you don't know, you're wrong and all that, but to show some acknowledgement. And Bhagavan did that. He showed some fear. He did not say, I'm Bhagavan, I can do whatever I want and all that. So with that little bit of a remorse, that cooled the mother so much, she had that motherliness come out because she had that both attitude competing. Now I had to punish my Lala. I had to punish my son. He cannot get away with this. At the same time, the love is there. And even when she was punishing, she wanted to use a rope and tie the Lord. She threw away the stick with which she wanted to beat him because Bhagavan was showing so much of fear. So Bhagavan already won his case because he could bring the motherliness out. She threw the stick. She now is holding a rope and she wants to tie. And why does the mother want to tie the Lala? It could be because she wanted to. Mother is a mother. She has to show the love and compassion. At the same time, she has to say what is right. She has to, for the sake of the future of the child. So mother wanted to tie the son, so to tell him, you can never do this again. Because I am around, this time is okay. But if you do such things to others, you go to work, later on in your life, when you're a professional, if you show such, if you cannot control yourself, you will be in big trouble. So mother has to teach the child also. Big dilemma. One side love, other side care. And one side, she has to show what is right and what is wrong. So she tied. Another Bhagavata says, no, she did not tie for that reason. She tied Bhagavan with a rope. She wanted to tie Bhagavan with a rope. And Bhagavan was yielding because he could see so much of love. She wanted to feed Bhagavan. He's running away. He's going here and there. How did you all feed your kids? Some of you might remember. You had to put him in the chair and you had to put the barrier. barricade. Okay? And then only you can feel. Otherwise, the child will keep running here and there and all that. So that was like a barricade, to tie and then feed him even more. So you can see that how Bhagavan could be tied, not really with a physical, not because there is a physical rope, not out of anger, not out of upset. When mother wanted to show her love, love is a real knot. This is where I want to conclude today's session, where just love is a real knot. Nothing else works. Love, care, trust, these are the basic knots which keeps us going, which keeps us, following some values, which keeps us putting the other person in our heart. So we'll continue this Leela also when we come back next week. With this, I'll conclude the session today. We'll wait for Vidyul to play the last final